Okay, I'm going to do a quick video on how I'm getting rid of scale on some of my citrus trees. So this is my citrus hedge right here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have like 9 citrus trees in here. And about a year ago, this tree right here, which is a golden nugget mandarin, got scale really bad. So you can see that the trunk is actually pretty big, but I had to cut it back right there because this was a nice like 6-foot tree and it got scale so bad. It was the first time any of my trees ever got scale, so I wasn't really paying attention or looking for it. So it got out of control before I found it. So I cut it back, and you can see from a year it's doing good. It's growing great. So that is a lesson in of itself. If your tree has a disease, you can just cut off the affected branches most times, even if it's like, oh my gosh, I'm cutting it all the way back. Like literally just that little stump was left. I don't know, maybe 1.5 feet. And it looks like, oh, the tree's going to die, but it pretty much always comes back. So do that if it's super bad. But recently, just this week, I noticed that this is my Moro blood orange. It had scale. My Bear's lime had scale, and my Eureka lemon had scale, and they only had it like barely, like just on a couple branches. So a couple branches, like that one right there, had it all over. So I just cut it off, and then this I left a little bit on so you can kind of see what it looks like. Let's see if it'll zoom in on it. Right there, you see all that black and yellow stuff? It looks like there's like basically bumps on the bark, but it's a little bug, and it is like propagated by ants. So like if you see a ton of ants on your tree, it might be a good chance that they're doing something you don't want them to be doing. Like for example, ants love to eat like the stuff that aphids produce. So they'll like propagate aphids on your tree. Like they'll get other bugs from eating them. Like they'll keep ladybugs away from it and like stuff like that. So I guess they do the same thing with scale. So for these trees, since it wasn't that bad, first thing I did is I cut off any branches that were super bad, like that one. The second thing I did is I got in my gloves and I started wiping off any of the scale. Like it comes off really easy. I'm not going to touch it with my bare hand, but with the gloves it just comes off super easy. I just rubbed off most areas. And then at the bottom of the tree, the first thing that I did, actually, because I didn't have time to deal with it, is I put petroleum jelly Vaseline at the bottom of the tree. You could see right there. And that will keep the ants, they don't want to crawl over it. But it was super hot, so it melted. So you can see there's like room for them to crawl through right there. So the next thing I did is I used this stuff. So I cut all the branches off, I wiped the scale off, and then this stuff is called tree tanglefoot, and it's for a bunch of different things you can see. But basically it keeps bugs from crawling up your tree that you don't want. So you're supposed to get some, like, I don't know, special wrap that you can buy from that company that you'll wrap around the tree, but I just use masking tape because it's not raining anytime soon. So, and then I got a butter knife and I poured that stuff, wiped that stuff all over the tape, the tanglefoot, and you can see there's a bunch of ants stuck in there. And now there's no ants climbing up the tree, whereas 2 days ago there was a whole trail. So that stops the ants. Wipe off the scale. You can also sprinkle diatomaceous earth around your plants that have a bunch of ants, because that will keep them away. But basically that's it. These trees should be fine now. So I'm going to take my gloves and wipe off the rest of that. But I wiped all of it off on this tree. I put the same thing, the tanglefoot. I wiped all of it off on this tree. Same thing, the tanglefoot. Another important thing is some of these trees were like touching this back wall right here. Some of the branches were hanging down to the ground. I cut all those off or trimmed them up so there was no other access point for the ants to climb up. So just be aware of that. But yeah, that's what you should do. It's really easy. It probably took me 20 minutes to do all that. So it's a simple fix for scale.